Hey everybody, good day to you all. It's high noon in H-Town, Houston, Texas. Hope everybody's doing super well. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to be talking about facilities readiness and assurance. So this is the third in a series of lunch and learns that we're doing on commissioning on demand. So I wonder if you could just please forward the slides, Ricky.
It's Emma.
Oh, it's Emma. It's Emma. So yeah, we've got a series of lunch and learns on commissioning on demand. This is the third, and maybe as we wait for people just to come in, we want this to be an interactive session. So there are various ways that you can get attention to either come in, ask questions. One is in the chat button. So on the right hand side here, we'll go through this shortly, but if you press chat, there comes up with the chat button at the bottom there. So please chat away. There are questions as well that you can ask. So by hook or by crook, we'll keep a track on who's chatting and who wants to ask questions. And the intention of the exercise is really to make this interactive. So the more the better. So any comments or questions, please chat away, and we'll either answer them on the spot or we've got a Q&A at the end. Either way, we're trying to make it as interactive as possible. So just maybe to start that, in the chat button, if you could please press F if it's the first time that you're here on the Lunch and Learn series, or indeed any of the presentations that we've done in the past. If you're a firstie, please put an F, or if you've been here before, just put a B. There we go. Okay, so we've got some first timers. So excellent, Dennis, awesome man, great to see you typing. Hopefully we can bring you in. Yeah, awesome, great. Yeah, Graham as well. Okay, first. Mike's a good, yeah, I know Mike, you've been here before many times, so that's great. Okay, so as I say, we're trying to make this as interactive as possible. 2 weeks ago, we kicked this off with a general commissioning on demand initiative. We told you all about commissioning on demand. All these presentations, guys, can be found at our website. So they're on demand, you can watch them anytime. And I'd recommend, they've been pretty good, even though we say it ourselves. They've had some good debates, and we are creating our library of these. So the first week, which was August the 13th, we had commissioning on demand as a general topic, what that means and how we're implementing it on our clients. And really it's come from an idea of pivoting for the new age. You know, the ways of the past are not necessarily the ways of the future. So how have we pivoted to combat the environment that we find ourselves working in? Then last week, we had a general overview on Tracker Technologies, what those three packages are for end-to-end, almost enterprise commissioning and startup technology. So we went through the whole, overview, I would say, on Tracker Technologies. And then today we're kind of homing it in onto facilities readiness, which is the first of the packages for TrackerPrep, what we call TrackerPrep. So that's the topic of discussion for today. So if we could just press on. The whole concept about commissioning on demand, as we said, is, things of the past can't be, what got us to this point won't get us to the next point. So we're very much as a company and an industry, I guess, really focused on those three areas: cost efficiency, value maximization, and risk management. So what you'll see today fits into this model that we came up with as a result of COVID, I would say, to look at how we are more effective with major project execution going forward. Okay. So the contents of today's Lunch and Learn, we have a panel. So any questions, please fire away, and we'll attempt to answer those questions. We've got a slide on housekeeping, as normal. We're then going to dive into facilities readiness and assurance, and start from ground zero. We're going to define it. What are the definitions of facilities readiness and assurance? And then we're going to just touch on the whole concept We're going to have a look at some objectives, what we set ourselves to do before we even got the technology together. We mapped out what the objectives were, and we optimized the process even before we got the technology sorted. So we're going to have a look at those. And then we're going to have a look at the PDCI cycle, which we've used as a skeleton to frame the facilities readiness and assurance system up. And then we're going to kind of open it up. Generally, we'll talk about one of the cases here that one of our early adopters has used and got some great benefits. But by all means, I know we've got Dennis and certainly we've got Mark on here. So we'll open it up and just have a general discussion, if that's okay, about facilities readiness and what the benefits are and how we can all kind of raise the water in the quayside so all the boats go up. That's the whole objective of the exercise, really. And then hopefully there'll be some actionable takeaways. There will be an opportunity at the end to request a demo, in fact. So anybody that's really interested in facilities readiness and our technology, you can request, you'll be able to request a specific demo that we can demo to you and your company, and you can get under the hood of the software and take a good look at it. But today is all about, I guess, the concepts, defining what it is, and looking at how we've structured this thing going forward. Again, Q&A and some next steps. Previous Lunch and Learns have been about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour. This is probably not going to be that. It's a little bit of a narrower subject. So anyway, let's kick it off and see how we get on. So we've got Ricky, and we've got myself, and we've got Graham. I'm not so sure if Graham is on stage, as we call it here, with this new software. So Ricky, maybe you could just introduce yourself, please.
Definitely. Hi, I'm Ricky Argot. I'm the CEO of Rev1. Yeah, that's me. Excited to be here.
Good. I think probably everybody on knows me. A couple of people don't know me, but certainly I'm Marty Cannon. Been in the industry for quite a few years now, and responsible for the delivery of services, interactions, touch points with clients and products for Rev1. So yeah, that's me. And Graham, I don't know if you can you speak, please?
We'll yeah. Find out. Hi there, Martin.
There you go.
Hi everyone, Graham Deans here. I look after things for Tracker Technologies in the UK, so based in Aberdeen, and looking after the kind of UK and Europe region.
Excellent, thank you. Okay. So a little bit of housekeeping. We are recording this for future reference and training purposes, as they say, but it will be recorded, and then it is available on demand for anybody that wants to go back, have a look, or even, by all means, please pass it on to people that need to see this. So that would be very useful. I've said we aim for around about half an hour, 45 minutes. Let's see how we go. Bit of a narrower subject today, so we'll see. Usual things. I think we've been through it, but we've got the chat button there, and please type away, and we'll try and make it as interactive as possible. And then Q&A throughout, and also at the end. What we do also is we make these slides electronically, and they are available, and we'll send those out as well if needed. So, okay, bit of housekeeping. So let's get into it. So definitions of facilities readiness, as we see it, assurance, and then facilities readiness and assurance. So fairly straightforward, fairly basic, but let's start with the basics. So facilities readiness, what we've got here is, it's a process of preparing three things, really. It's the facility, it's the environment in which the facility sits, and it's the operator for safe and compliant operation. So three things: the facility, the environment, and the operator. And two key words: safe and compliant. Now, the safe and compliant operation is generally predetermined with some assurance. So again, the definition of assurance: a positive declaration intended to give confidence. Now, companies, operators specifically, generally wrap all this up in a assurance document called an FRNA standard, And that comes in various different terminologies, different guises, but generally there is a written document with a positive declaration of what that facility should operate, the operating parameter and envelope, and also the operator requirements. So that's basically our definition of facilities readiness and assurance. Getting the facility, the environment in which it sits, and the operator into a position for safe and compliant operations. And it's generally all about being proactive and identifying all this stuff up front so we can manage it. So we have this technology, and as I said before we got the technology, we worked out what the manual system would look like, what the management process would look like for facilities readiness and assurance, and then simply wrap the technology. So the technology is always an enabler, and this is a key point. You know, we go around many companies, and they buy software and try and implement it, and if it doesn't fit their processes and workflows, they become very disillusioned very quickly. So TrackerPrep Frna is really a management system first and foremost, and technology, which is the enabler, that controls, you know, both the inputs, the process, which is the bit in the middle, and then the outputs required to achieve facilities readiness. I don't know if anybody's got any comments, questions, or would like to contribute to that definition, but that's certainly how we see it. And then the overall concept here, we're going to go into the concept in a couple of minutes, a little bit more depth, but generally it's all about, you know, mitigating the risk of failure as much as the HS&E people call it, as reasonably practicable, or as we say, possible, by use of a practical, it's got to be very practical. If it's not practical, people don't use it. So very practical and proactive process and management system. So the overall concept is there are on a project many unknowns that we're going to have a look at in a minute. But if we can upfront, holistically, identify as much as possible upfront and then manage it via some technology, well, the end result could be, I would argue, a lot better than not doing it. And that's the whole concept behind Frna. Any questions on that? Okay, well, moving on. So here we have quite an interesting graphic, which is the cycle of what I call contract emotions. So see if anybody can kind of relate to this. You know, we go through this cycle generically. You know, this is not on any one particular client or any contract in general, but generally we've seen this over the years, I would say, where we all start off very optimistic and very excited. And we start talking to the client and we go for that one project that we always wanted to go for. We get closer and closer, we get thrilled, and then boom, we get it, you know, and we're into wild enthusiasm. We've actually got the one contract that we've been wanting all those years. We then form our project management teams. We contact all the vendors. We get all the VDRSs filled out and all the vendor documents that we want. We get all the plans, execution plans together, and generally we head off full steam into this new contract. But what we generally do is do what we did on the last project. So after a short period of time, which could actually be days, we start to go down this loop, which is a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of fear. You know, the hard reality of the facts start to come into play. Have we thought about everything, you know, holistically? And we're going to have a look at some of those points in a few minutes. But then if that's not managed, that then turns very quickly into the downward spiral, like the water going down the plug hole. And you get into this area of despondency, depressions, people start fighting internally. And then what we have is a damage limitation, I would say, strategy, which we're gambling with the success of the project. So, you know, as a general emotion, you know, cycle of emotion, that could happen. I don't know if anybody can relate to that at all, but certainly some of the projects that we've been on in the past have gone through a similar cycle. on the client side and on the contractor side, I may add as well. So just moving on. So some of the items, although we think we know what we're doing, there are potential pitfalls in that overall process. So what we're trying to do is take a holistic view, and generally they're categorized in two bucket areas, really. There is internal viewpoints and external viewpoints. So here's just a few examples, and there are many. There are many unknowns, and of course we can't really dictate all of them, but here are some possible ones that when we kick off on the project that we probably don't know all things about everything. So internally, we've got corporate initiatives. This is very appropriate at the moment. A lot of the companies that we speak to are in a massive reorganization. So not only do they don't know where their internal processes are, they don't know where the people are, and if the people are certainly going to be around for the next foreseeable future. So was that really thought about when we went into this contract? We don't know. So there's reorganization. There's some internal issues around change management and standards, procedures, standard operating procedures, change management. Have things changed? If so, how do we capture that and make sure that at the end of the day, at the end of the project, we are compliant internally with standards and procedures? There's some internal competence issues. Have we got the right people? Are they suitably trained and qualified? Is that in line with what the client wants? Question mark. There could be all sorts of financial issues, bonds, cash flow, any financial issue as well. Have they been thought through? Technical challenges. Have we got the right competencies? Have we got the right design? Does the design envelope fit with what the original intent's going to be? So without going through all of these, I think you can see the holistic viewpoint, both internally. I'm sure there's a ton of others. But all these things really impact our ability to deliver a sound project at the end of the day. That's just internally. And I'm sure, you know, if we had a brainstorming session, we could come up with 2 or 3 flip charts full of ideas. But hopefully you get the idea. Now, externally as well, from the customer's viewpoint, he or she has got their expectations. What are they? Hopefully they're all understood, documented, and we all understand what they are. Many times they're not until halfway through or even the end. And then, of course, we've got the regulator. There's a whole raft of permits, consents, compliance issues from the regulator. What are they going to be? Environmental issues, permits. That's a whole minefield. We could go and probably talk half an hour just on environmental issues. Permits we've mentioned. Unions, external unions. Have we talked to the unions? Do we know if it's a union job or not union job? A whole raft of things there. Vendor issues. Have we got the right competencies? Have we got the right vendors, vendor documents, all that? And also external factors like weather. You know, certainly in our industry, you know, the oil and gas industry, weather plays a large part in what we can do at any one point in time in the year. So hopefully you can get the idea. There are many things that do not appear on the project plan. Now, when they do appear, it's usually post-project kickoff. And then what happens is we have a spreadsheet, we have a flip chart, we have somebody's whiteboard, we have stickies, and generally nothing gets done until somebody shouts or it's absolutely screaming urgent, and we have to do something about it. So we're trying to be a bit more smart. We're trying to be a bit more proactive, and we're trying to be a bit more clever and capture all these points and put them into some sort of management system. Okay. So the question there is, could any of these issues been identified and avoided? You're not going to get everything. We know that. There are things that will crop up, and the unexpected is the unexpected. But a lot of these things, we make the same mistake every time. And the whole idea of this is providing an infrastructure, a skeleton where we can capture them and get lessons learned, build them in, so we're not repeating the same old problem time and time again. I know it probably sounds obvious and common, but common sense, but obviously common sense is not always common. So anybody, any questions at the moment? We're all right. Seems like a one-man show at the moment, but we'll press on anyway. So let's just keep on going. So yeah, so really the cycle of contract emotions, which we've been through, the optimism, the wild enthusiasms, the hard reality, and then the damage limitation gamble. We're into this thing now. We've got to make us. We've got to do something. So we throw the dice essentially, and we obviously try and make a success of it, which generally we do. But there is that always projects that I think we've all heard about that have been a complete failure. And of course, with that, we're burning resources, we're burning money, our reputation's gone. There's a whole boatload of negatives that are associated with project failure. We just don't want to be there. As an industry, we don't want to be there. So the whole concept of facilities readiness and assurance is all about flattening that curve. It's taking all the emotions out of it, and it's trying to be predictable, coming up with a management system that looks holistically, internally, externally, and capturing all those points, putting them into a system which will produce, I would argue, a more predictable outcome. And that's generally what FRNA is all about. Okay, so specific objectives of FRNA. Before we set off on this journey, we came up with some objectives. This is by no means exhaustive, but here are some main objectives, I would say. Corporate compliance is a biggie. So, every major operating organization, owner, buyer, operator has got expectations and corporate standards on what they expect. If we can go in there and demonstrate that we've achieved that compliance, it's got to be a good thing. Consistency. So if an operator is doing some brownfield work in one area of the world, plus a big greenfield project in another area of the world, there's got to be some consistency. So they can't be totally different. In terms of operating parameters, in terms of facilities readiness, I would say, it's great to get some consistency so that when the regulators come in or when the client comes in, there is some consistency in the approach. Visibility. We wanted the system to be very visible to all the project management members. So visibility is a key objective in terms of requirements, responsibilities, and what's been done with those responsibilities. We also wanted an early indication of anything that's either late or anything that's going to cause a problem. We wanted a good indication early on that we're not on track. So we wanted to build that into the software as well. And then demonstrable. So, when the auditors come in at the end of the day, either internal, external, or regulatory, we are able to go to one system, go to the requirements, and demonstrate that we have been compliant. And by the way, there's the actual deliverable. And all that information in one place is the key to organization.
I'd like to add something there. I think
sure.
One of the indirect benefits to using this technology and all of these different factors that go into it is an increased level of safety on the project, because you have consistency, visibility, an early indication of problems. So if things can be mitigated before they become a problem, people aren't rushing around and creating panic and stress, which leads to people making mistakes and shortcuts. If you can properly plan, you can reduce the risk, which is kind of the idea. It's a very, very big indirect benefit that doesn't necessarily come out when you think about, technology implementation, but it's a really big benefit.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Ricky. Yeah. And then also, in the spirit of continuous improvement, you know, we've all been on the project, so well, lessons learned, how have we built those in? Where's the lessons learned register? Well, you may or may not be able to put your hand on that, but we wanted a platform to continuously and never end improve. So this was one of our main objectives for FRNA as well, to provide that platform for continuous and never-ending improvement. So lessons are learned and things are changed. Change management does come in, and then we do things better next time. So it's a platform for lessons learned. So they're specific FRNA objectives, but just to quickly touch on generic objectives. Yeah, please, Ricky, just flick on. The generic Tracker Technologies objectives, it's just worth going over these. We went over these last week, but it's just worth touching on these again. So they were the specifics. These are the generics that were built into all our technologies. You know, we're all familiar with great user experience now with iPhones, Androids, and the experience that you get sat on your sofa on a Saturday afternoon is what you expect at work. So we wanted a great user experience with all our software. We didn't just want technology for technology's sake. It's got to absolutely optimize the workflow. It's got to make the workflows and the processes better and more optimized. So we're getting shorter cycle times and better results from our workflow. Mobility and connectivity. We wanted all these things to be mobile. And in fact, a lot of the technology is all designed around the iPhone and the Android. So, you know, it's all used on there. And not one software does everything. We know that. But what we can do is connect to the best of the best. And through connectivity, we can get maximum use out of everything that's available as well. Things like planning and cost control and risk management, we can connect to these packages as well. Ease of use and adoption. So if it's not easy to use, people ain't going to use it and they're not going to adopt it. So that was a key objective as well. And then the 5-minute warning, as Graham's well used to, you know, can we get this up and running tomorrow, today, whatever. So we wanted a rapid implementation method, which we've got. And then software is one thing, but if you don't get the client support, the software is no good at all. So we kind of over-indexed on superior client support. So we built all these into Tracker Technologies. Anything, I don't know if there's any more to add on that, Ricky, but that's generally what we set out to do when we designed Tracker Technologies.
Definitely, yeah. I think we try and operate as a partner with the client, not so much a software provider. It's more of a partnership model, and the success of the client is the success of our software division. So that's how we really see it.
It's good. And again, those two key points there that we've got in orange, safety and productivity, that's what it's all about. Yeah, so, okay, moving swiftly on. So, yeah, the overall structure of the FRNA system, Facilities Readiness Assurance System, we've adopted from the international standards. So if you look at everything from ISO, you know, 55,000, which for asset management, to ISO 9001, generally now there's a standard protocol, which is tried, tested. It's been around since just after the Second World War, when Deming went across to Japan and implemented the plan, do, check, and act, as he called it, but we call it improved cycle. So the Deming cycle has been around for many, many years now. It's very simple, but it really works. So we go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, done. And it's plan, do, check, and improve. So just to go on, the plan is all about planning. This is a document we prepared earlier, which is our Rev1 Facilities Readiness and Assurance Standard. So in there is a textual document which explains the process, and it breaks the whole process down into 5 areas, and it explains exactly how the system's used. Now that's our standard. Our clients and other companies that we talk to have got similar documents. If they haven't, they can always use ours, but generally they've got an equivalent. And really the software is a repository for that global corporate standard. You know, it's instead of it just residing on a shelf in a library somewhere, technical library somewhere, it physically exists as a management system through facilities readiness assurance TrackerPrep. And in there, as I say, there's text explanation plus project templates. So for any type of project, brownfield, greenfield, different sizes, different sectors, there will be a template with predetermined items that we talked about earlier already in there. Now that requires a global custodian generally, and the global custodian is responsible for the technical content of that document. It's signed off by the global custodian, generally a facilities readiness and assurance lead or manager, and any changes to that will be approved by the global custodian. And also the global custodian goes around and audits against that standard. So yeah, that's kind of the planning stage, all upfront preparation. Dennis, this is junior version. Sorry about that. Yes, I understand now. Sorry, I was a bit. Oh, I think we've got both, then, have we? No, probably it's junior version. Yeah, sorry about that. I got it. A little bit slow on the uptake there. Right, the do. Here we go. We're going to do now. So the do takes the standard that we've just talked about, and then it breaks it down into these templates that we talked about. Now, for any particular type of project, there will be a template with the requirements in. And what we do then, through the software, we assign responsibilities and timescales. So it's okay having a list of responsibilities, but who's going to be responsible for actually conducting the activity? What are they going to produce? When are they going to produce it? And by the way, once you've done it, this is where it goes. So all that information goes into TrackerPrep. Responsible parties, it's almost like a contract with the manager and all the project team to go through each point and identify what the deliverable is going to be, when are we going to do it, and this is where it goes at the end of the day. Now that becomes almost like a report or a day book. So at the end of every shift or end of every day, the manager expects some sort of update, and there is a system there where the manager can check on progress, which we can show you at a demo. Here's the check-in bit. So again, we've got all those requirements in now. The manager in real time can report on progress, and also the individual can check where he or she is on a daily basis against the requirements. So again, all identified, all allocated out, and then monitored on a daily basis. Nothing's left to chance is basically what we're saying here. So then improve, the final step of the plan, do, check, improve cycle. We're all into improvement. Nothing is perfect. So we can always learn from our experience, and that is then built back into the system. So progress reports via a nice clear dashboard. There's a lessons learned feedback loop in there. And then all of that, if there is any change to the standard or the templates, it all goes back to that custodian and is all IDC'd, approved, and get the change management back into the system. So we're continuing to improve.
Hi there, Martin. Graham here.
Yes.
Just a quick one to add on that change management and lessons learned getting fed back. It's not something that you have to wait for the end of a project and then all sit down and do. If there's lessons learned throughout the project, that can be applied to our templates, and then that's immediately available in future projects. So just try to break that cycle of wait till the end, write down our lessons, which are then forgotten by the start of the next project. So try to break that cycle.
Nice one, G. Yeah. Okay. And then really, so I think, we've gone through the definitions, the concepts, the whole kind of ethos behind why we're doing what we're doing. We've shown you the kind of structure, and now into reality. You know, this is a real user case, I would say, Gulf of Mexico assets, just to demonstrate that if we do this, flatten the curve of emotions, identify stuff up front, it does absolutely pay off. And just one of our early adopters on this, even on the first project that they used it on, they're familiar with doing turnarounds, but they came in 4 days early. And of course, they got the plant back up 4 days early. They were able to start producing again, which was a huge amount. You can see at the bottom there, it's a huge amount that they saved in downtime. So it proves its worth. And I know on here, certainly Ben, it's nice to see you, Ben, but you know, we've got some real operations readiness experts on here, and I'm sure you've got stories that you could share yourselves. Maybe you want to do that, maybe you don't want to do that. Mark, you're also on here. But, you know, to us, this is definitely the way to go. You know, it's all holistic, it's all upfront. and it's proven. We've proven the concept. It's been around for, as we all know, it's been around for a while, but certainly through TrackerPrep, we've managed to optimize the process, put some technology around it, and our clients are getting the results at the end of the day. So, yep. Any questions at all from anybody? Any comments, or anybody would like to share? This is a good moment to do that. If I think we can get people in and out if we.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to come on stage, maybe just
come on down. Come on stage.
Put that in the chat that you've got a comment, and I'll bring you on stage.
If not, no worries, but we'll just keep kind of pressing on. But I think we're getting to the kind of end of it now. We're 37 minutes into it, which is probably about right. So, yep. So anybody that really wants to get under the hood of this thing, oh, Mark. Hey, Mark's got a comment. Let's bring him on down. Come on, Mark. Let's go. Spin the wheel. Come on, Mark.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Gotcha.
Okay. I think just one comment I'd like to make is facilities readiness or operations readiness can be done and is done differently by everybody, every company, and everyone has a different take on what it is. And what I'm very attracted to by Rev1's development of TrackerPrep is it's holistically flexible in whatever system you want to build. It will fit, and I think that's one of the advantages looking at a tracker of Rev1's quality. That's all I have, gents.
Thanks, Mark. I mean, that's well received, and that's one of the reasons we went for that international Plan, Do, Check, Act thing. You know, Plan, Do, Check, Improve, because generally, the foundation of any management system will fit into that structure. So it doesn't matter really what they've got and what the clients have got. We can plan, we can do. We can check and we can improve. So yeah, no, point well made. Thanks for that, Mark. Mark, have you got any sort of, I don't know, generic examples or benefits of using such a system that that you can share at all?
So the only project that actually I would consider a success that I've been involved in was GoldenEye in the UK about 2003. It was quite a big. It was an offshore platform, normally unmanned. It was a 120K pipeline, facility onshore, and Shell were the owners. Foster Wheelers were the EPC, and they implemented a full operations readiness suite, and it worked very well. Basically, the whole system from offshore, from wells to offshore to pipes to onshore, came up and stayed up until the first shutdown. So the first planned shutdown. So commercially a huge success, and I saw huge amounts of work going into that system, planning, executing, and managing the whole of the operations readiness. And I was a lowly operator who was involved in some of the commissioning for that. So that's really where I started to learn what it is. And I have to say, ever since then, I've never managed to achieve the same success.
Yeah.
Your curve you talked about earlier.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. No, thanks for sharing that. And what was the key thing that was the success factor? Was it the kind of proactive nature of identifying these holistic things, or was there any one factor that you can put your finger on, or just a general effort?
The general effort. One
Right.
noticeable area that they worked on that project was lessons learned and a flawless. They did a whole flawless. And anybody that's worked with Shell will know what that means.
Right.
And the difference or the speciality of flawless is it looks specifically at things that go wrong during startup and afterwards, which most lessons learned look at projects and look at design and things like that. So this looks specifically at startup and first operate. And the implementation of that seemed to have a market success.
Got it. Yeah, excellent. Well, thanks again for sharing that. Much appreciated. Thanks, Mark. Armando.
I'm glad Armando on stage.
Armando, come on down. Wow, Dennis is at just while we're waiting for Armando there. Dennis is saying that he's at St Fergus right now, which I know very well, and ORNA getting ready to bring Fulmer gas back online tomorrow evening. So wow, okay, Dennis. I don't know if you're able to come on and tell us a little bit about that, but that'd be very interesting if you could. But anyway, here's Armando. Thanks for joining us today, Armando. Much appreciated.
Oh yes, sir. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
So I guess is the facility and asset readiness tool, the TrackerPrep, is that specifically for commissioning or new construction? I'm sorry, I came late to the series.
No, it's fine. And we can send you all this. In fact, you can go online and see that first bit again. But no, this is an operations tool. So it covers all the project life cycle from design, it'll be operations in design, through to commissioning, startup, operations. It's a real holistic system. It's not really just specifically commissioning. It has got an element of commissioning, but but there's basically 5 topic areas. There's a management area where all the management requirements come in. There's operations input into the design, and then there's the facilities readiness as a discipline, and then there's the CSU, and then there's the assurance activities. So 5 topic areas, all holistically coming in to try and capture all the unknowns that generally fall between the cracks on a project.
Okay, good. I guess my comment is, during the input of the TrackerPrep, that's a wonderful thing, especially when it comes to communication throughout any project life cycle. But one thing that I do run across, and it's consistent, is people who don't tell you the truth on that report. I see it consistently, like to what we call pencil whip it, and just to get their numbers. But the one thing that comes about, I see it time and time again for various management teams, is that they're taking all this information in, thinking that person's telling them the truth, and quite frankly, most often they're not. They'll like to pencil whip, and then they wonder why nothing's happening, or they're 10% behind schedule. They don't know why, but they don't. I see it a lot. Nobody actually gets out there. Not like me. I mean, I'm in it to everything, but most of the time I see people, they don't go out there. They don't come off their chair, and they don't get in the field, and they don't really get to know these people out there and know whether or not they're actually telling them the truth right out the gate. So it'll be 50% of the project. You think you only have 50% to go, but then all of a sudden, when you start digging, you have 75% to go, and now that's that snowball effect where everybody says, "Oh my God, why did this happen?" And it was because you didn't get up off your chair and go out there and make sure these people are telling you exactly what they're supposed to be telling you.
Mm-hmm. A great point. So, you know, the old adage, you get what you inspect, not what you expect. You know, it's very, very true. And part of the software here is that it is a contract between the manager and the guy that's doing the job to really every day, like I say, it's like a day book. Every day put in what you've done to progress your deliverables to the next stage. And you know, if you have the demo, Armando, you'll see that there is a way that the manager knows if you're slipping. It's very, very easy. You know, it's a very good indicator.
Yeah.
Every day when he switches on his dashboard, he knows that Martin is slipping. He's beginning to slip on his deliverables. It's very clear. So we've kind of, you can never kind of mitigate that down to zero, but I think we've managed to come up with a indicating system that brings it down to a reasonable level, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. But hey, thanks for your comments there. Do you use?
Yeah, thank you.
Do you use a similar system at all where you are?
No, I'm right now. I'm not working, but
yeah,
I seen you guys online, so I'm like,
I really appreciate
it to go to that.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I hope you found it. Thanks for coming. Yeah, hope you found it.
Oh yeah, thank you.
And also next week, please tune in again.
Yeah, I'm gonna do every one of them. So if you guys can send me all of it, I'll do the whole thing. So
sounds excellent. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know, Den, if you're around, if you can come on. Maybe you're not. You're probably not in a position if you're at St. Fergus to actually do that. But thanks for the comment anyway, and we wish you well with your ORNA bringing Fulmer. My goodness, that's a blast from the past. Gas is coming back on tomorrow evening, so good luck with that. Okay, anybody else? Yeah. Oh, he's just tuning in. Can you bring him on, Ricky?
Yeah, try. Let's see if it works.
All the way to St. Fergus. Here we go. Thanks for the comment there, Gordon. Yeah. And Ben, you're very passionate about this subject. Any comments from you at all? We had a good conversation the other night, which was along the same kind of topic. So if not, no worries. But okay, so maybe maybe it's stretching a little bit too far for Den to actually come on. But
it's okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for your comments there. Okay, moving on then, Ricky. Again, just to go over that point, please, if anybody's more interested in getting under the hood of this thing and seeing how the demo, seeing how the software works in line with this strategy, you can go to trackertechnologies.co, and on there you can request, a demo. We'll be only too pleased to show you the demo. So the facilities readiness tool, just to go over that, the points on the left-hand side, it really answers these questions. Is your project 100% complete? That's the knowns and the unknowns, and not just a check sheet. So really there, as Amanda was saying, we're not into just pistol whipping the pencil and getting all the check sheets filled in, but have we got really demonstrable evidence that everything's been done? Do we have the compliance and regulatory documents complete? Where are they? They're all in the system. Are we on track to complete on schedule? And also, what's holding you up today? So,
looks like we have Ben who wants to contribute some general thoughts. So
come on, Ben.
All right, am I there now?
You sure are.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I was just going to add that I still haven't seen. I just kind of got introduced to Rev1, so I haven't seen how the tool works. And having helped clients, I'm a consultant, management consultant, helping clients implement readiness programs throughout various places. I will say that having a tool to assist very specifically for commissioning startup readiness, as opposed to having it trying to integrate with a construction schedule or an EPC schedule, having a very dedicated system, it actually improves the execution of the program by, I don't have a number at the top of my head. I was going to say 20%, but probably more like 10 to 15%. But the point of it is, like, doing things on your own using spreadsheets is better than nothing. But using a tool like the TrackerPrep, it seems like it's great, is going to integrate all those things and be accessible in many different platforms and places, is only going to be a positive result and a positive outcome. I know that what we were talking about the other night, Martin, is that there's so many things that happen beyond just the construction schedule, like all the things that have to happen to make sure everyone's ready to go have to be captured somewhere. And I think I love the idea, the way you guys are saying, hey, we're going to link that back to lessons learned, management requirements, and also have a compliance effort. That sounds like a really, really good insight.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Ben. Yeah.
My pleasure. Thanks.
If we have that as kind of like a baseline control, and then on top of which we can then do the kind of things that you do, which is the optimization piece, it's almost like building the step ladder, step 1, step 2, step 3, but we see this as a foundational kind of management process that we can build on. So no, thanks very much for coming in there, Ben, and we appreciate those comments. Okay, just moving on then, Ricky. I think we're more or less coming to the end now, guys. So yeah, we're coming up to the 50-minute mark, which is great. So again, this is just part of the 3 processes that we have for TrackerPrep, TrackerCheck, which is the CMS, and the TrackerRun, which is the MMS. And this takes us through kind of like an end-to-end. You see the diagram on the right-hand side there, from design through procurement, construction, commissioning, operations to decom. We kind of got we've got a solution for end-to-end. This is almost like an enterprise version now. So that was the whole point of Tracker Technologies. Okay, Ricky. So again, I think we're coming to the end. So just to go over the recap, we've been over the definitions, what FRNA is, Facilities Readiness and Assurance, the concept behind it, the objectives that we set before we set out. We've gone through those cycle of contract emotions and how we've mitigated that. We've flattened the curve, and we've optimized the process, and we've built that process on a plan, do, check, improve cycle. And we've had a look at a few case studies and a few discussions, which we very much appreciate the interaction there. And you know how to request a demo. So thank you very much, guys. Moving on, Ricky. So any last questions at all? I think we've had a good kind of go at it, but this is an opportunity for any last sort of comments and questions. We'll get back to you on that one, Amando. Here's Jennifer coming in. What's the name of the maintenance software? Yeah, so we have a maintenance software, which is the topic of not next week, but the week after, called TrackerRun. And we'll be having a look at TrackerRun as well, which is a very user-friendly, again, system of maintenance management. So yeah, that's that. And okay, moving on. So again, next week we will be looking at TrackerCheck, which is the CMS. So we'll be doing more or less the same over a sandwich and some Doritos lunch and learn on September the 3rd. We would invite you and look forward to some interaction again on TrackerCheck. Okay, Ricky. And if this kind of format is of any interest, where we're talking about subjects and some interaction, we'd like to point your attention to an event that we're members of CPS, which is the Commissioning Professional Symposium. On the 2nd of October, there is an online this year, a virtual event. please go to that website, check us out. In fact, the website's not on there, is it? We need to. We'll put that. Maybe you could put that in the chat bar there, Ricky. People can go to the website and check us out, see what we're up to on the 2nd of October. Big online event where we've got various speakers from, I would say, all over the world talking about subjects like this, and it'd be very nice to see everybody there. So yeah, CPS 2nd of October, www.cpssociety.co.
The symposium is part of a larger society organization, which is what we want to promote in the industry, which is the Commissioning Professional Society, which is a worldwide global organization that brings all of the commissioning professionals around the world together. And there's membership opportunities, there's sponsorship opportunities, company members, individual members. So there's a lot of interesting developments that we're building out, which will roll out here at CPS 2020. Thanks,
Ricky. Yeah, and the actual event is the software is very, 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 very interesting. That's just a screenshot, but it's all interactive. All those people are moving around, and you can go various places. There's an exhibition hall where if you're representing a company, you can have a stand and you can man the stand. You know, so I'd certainly recommend that you take a look at what we've got there. It's very, 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 very interesting. Okay, moving on. So yeah, we've come to the end of the Lunch and Learn. We're just coming up to the hour, which we're very pleased about. Thank you everybody for your contributions and your time. We very much appreciate your time. It's time to wash up, as we say. This pork chop's gone now. Please just join us next week. We're all about building the community here, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Any last word from you, Ricky?
Yeah, if this is of value, please spread the word. Tell everybody. It's something that we want to create a healthy dialogue around it, because I think the more we talk about it, the more it becomes mainstream. So it's something that we want to keep pushing out to the market. So if you do know of other people that might be interested, just have them reach out to us or send them the link, however you want to do that. But yeah, we'd be happy to have them.
We certainly like the Lunch and Learn format. We can do it, obviously in this format or company specific. It's not really salesy. It's more to do with bringing the whole industry up to a certain level. So we're all for it. So please, as Ricky's saying there, spread the word for us. That'd be great. Thank you very much, guys. This has been great. We've really enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you all next week.
Thank you, guys.
Many thanks.